Imagine being stranded alone on a deserted island, with only the eerie sounds of the jungle and the relentless waves crashing against the shore as your companions. For over 4 years, one man faced this terrifying reality. This is the true and chilling story of a real-life castaway whose incredible fight for survival will leave you questioning the limits of human resilience. Today, we're diving into the haunting story of how one man's solitary ordeal on a desolate island inspired one of the greatest adventure novels of all time. Born in 1676 in the small Scottish village of Lower Largo, Alexander Selkirk was destined for a life of adventure and peril. As a young man, his rebellious spirit often got him into trouble, but it was his seafaring ambitions that led him to the fateful journey that would forever change his life. Alexander Selkirk began his seafaring life as a buccaneer in 1703 when he joined an expedition led by English privateer William Dampier. Embarking from Ireland with letters of marque, their mission was to target enemy ships during the War of the Spanish Succession. Dampier commanded the St. George, while Selkirk served on the Chincoports under Captain Thomas Stradling. After a treacherous journey around Cape Horn, their fleet battled a French ship that managed to escape and alert Spanish forces. Following a failed raid in Panama, they captured a well-stocked merchant vessel, briefly reigniting their hopes. Captain Dampier then took command of this prize ship but soon released it after taking necessary provisions: wine, sugar, flour, and brandy. By May 1704, Captain Stradling with the Chincoports chose to part ways with Dampier, setting the stage for Selkirk's extraordinary fate. In September 1704, the Chincoports made their way to the uninhabited island of Masa Tierra, part of the Juan Fernandez archipelago, to resupply with fresh water. Selkirk, increasingly concerned about the seaworthiness of the vessel, clashed repeatedly with Captain Stradling. Fearing for his life, Selkirk made a bold and desperate decision. He would rather stay on Masa Tierra than continue with Stradling. Little did he know he was trading one set of dangers for another. Stradling took him up on the offer and deserted him on the remote island. Immediately regretting his decision, Selkirk pleaded to be taken back, but Stradling, wanting to set an example for the crew, refused, effectively handing Selkirk a death sentence. As the Chincoports disappeared over the horizon, Selkirk was struck by the stark reality of his isolation. He was alone, hundreds of miles from the nearest civilization, with only a few supplies to his name: a musket, an old hatchet, a cooking pot, a knife, carpenter tools, his Bible, and some clothing and bedding. The island was wild and untamed, teeming with strange noises at night. Selkirk's first days were filled with fear and uncertainty. He had to quickly learn to adapt to his harsh environment. He knew he had to secure food and shelter to survive, finding refuge in a beachside cave and surviving on whatever he could forage. Filled with overwhelming emotions of grief, loneliness, and regret, Selkirk would often stare aimlessly at the horizon, confessing later that he contemplated taking his own life. But it was the approaching mating season of monstrous sea lions that forced him to act. The sea lions overran his beach, cutting him off from his food supply and forcing him inland. Though at the time he was distraught about moving into the untamed, looming jungle, this unexpected push led him to salvation. He discovered a lush valley behind the beach, rich with cabbage palms, wild turnips, and various native fruits, staples of his diet. He also found wild goats left by earlier buccaneers and pirates. At first, he shot them for food, but when his gunpowder ran out, he learned to capture them by foot and with handmade traps, eventually domesticating some for meat and milk. One day during one of these chases, Selkirk narrowly escaped death when he lost his footing and tumbled off a cliff. He lay in agony for days at the bottom, slowly recovering his strength. If it hadn't been for the goat he was chasing cushioning his fall, this could have been his final resting place. But rocky cliffs and unstable terrain weren't Selkirk's only danger. The island was also overrun with colonies of rats as large as his forearm, which gnawed at his hands and feet while he slept, threatening to spread untreatable diseases and infections. Fortunately, wild cats on the island offered a solution. Selkirk domesticated some of them, and they guarded him at night, providing strange but comforting companionship. As the days turned to weeks and the weeks to months, Selkirk continued to adapt to his lonely island life. Despite seeing no signs of rescue, he had not given up hope. Every day he scanned the horizon for ships, lighting signal fires as he did so. As October 1704 approached, he built shelters inland near a stream. Using his few tools, he constructed huts from pimento wood and thatched them with grass. His huts were sparsely furnished, but goat skins provided warmth and comfort. His domesticated goats and cats gave him food and protection, and his diet improved with lobsters, parsley, watercress, and parsnips. His Bible became his most precious companion, with daily devotions helping him retain his sanity. One day while going about his tasks, Selkirk's hopes soared when he saw two ships anchored offshore. Rushing to the shore, he built a signal fire and frantically waved for attention. His excitement turned to dread when he realized they were Spanish. Knowing capture meant torture or a life of slavery in a salt mine, he fled back into the jungle. As the Spanish sailors explored the island searching for supplies, he was spotted by a group of men who fired at him. Thinking quickly, Selkirk climbed a tall leafy tree, hiding until they abandoned their search. At one point, the searching party even urinated beneath the tree where he was hidden, but they failed to notice him. Soon they returned to their ship. As the years stretched on, Selkirk's tools and clothes wore out. When his knife wore down, he fashioned new ones from an iron bar he found on the beach. His clothes, made from goat skins, were crude but effective, and his feet became toughened from running on volcanic terrain. His long, uncut beard made him look wild, like a hairy ape. Despite adapting to his solitary life, Selkirk never gave up hope of rescue. Unbeknownst to him, his fate was about to change. William Dampier, the man who had inadvertently left him stranded, was now leading another venture to raid the South American coast. His new fleet, made up of the Duke and its sailing companion the Duchess, set sail from England on September 1, 1709. By late January 1710 they neared Isla Masa Tierra. After 4.5 years, fate was about to reunite Selkirk with an old comrade. Due to his previous encounter with the Spanish, Selkirk had grown cautious, always surveying the horizon from his lookout before approaching the beach. On February 1, 1710, he spotted two ships in the distance that seemed distinctly British. Heart-pounding, he raced down to the shore, built a signal fire, and frantically waved for attention. Dampier, noticing the unexpected fire, sent a boat to investigate, not knowing Selkirk was still alive. The landing party, led by Thomas Dover, was met by a speechless Selkirk, overwhelmed with joy. After 4 years and 4 months of solitude, Selkirk was finally rescued. Woodes Rogers, the Duke's captain, humorously dubbed him the governor of the island. Now agile and strong, Selkirk helped the crew recover from scurvy by providing fresh goat meat and milk. Captain Rogers marveled at Selkirk's physical vitality and mental tranquility, observing that solitude and retirement from the world was not such an insufferable state of life, especially when people were thrown into it unavoidably. Rogers, impressed by Selkirk's resilience, appointed him as the Duke's second mate. Back at sea, Selkirk's zeal for privateering was reignited. In Guayaquil, in modern-day Ecuador, he led a daring raid up the Guas River, looting gold and jewels from wealthy Spanish ladies. His exploits continued along the coast of Mexico, playing a key role in capturing a Spanish prize ship. Later, Selkirk served as the sailing master under Captain Dover, navigating to the East Indies and ultimately completing a circumnavigation of the globe. On October 1, 1711, he arrived back in England after 8 long years. Selkirk's incredible story of survival became a sensation. He returned to England a changed man, and his tale of endurance and resilience captivated all who heard it. His experience even inspired Daniel Defoe's classic novel Robinson Crusoe. Alexander Selkirk's ordeal is a testament to the human spirit's capacity to endure and adapt. His story remains a powerful reminder of the strength and resilience that lies within us all, even in the face of the most daunting challenges. In 1966, the Chilean government renamed Isla Masa Afuera as Alejandro Selkirk Island, a fitting tribute to the man whose incredible survival story continues to inspire and intrigue. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more survival stories from the past. Until next time, stay safe.